Hey everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twinstrology, where we talk about twin flames, astrology, and ascension. And today we are going to be talking about 2023 and the overall energies that I see coming in, how that might affect twin flames. And if I have time at the end, I'll talk a little bit about the Aquarius new moon that's happening in a few days. But I'm calling this video 2023 Year of Sirius Shifts. And that's a little play on words because with Sirius, I'm referring to the star Sirius because Sirius is going to play a big role in the energetic shifts that we experience this year. Now, Sirius always plays a big role in the energetic shifts that we experience because Sirius is our central sun. And the higher frequencies that come to us onto the planet come from Sirius through our sun and then down into the earth. But what we see happening this year are some key alignments of things with the star Sirius as it is positioned on the astrology chart. And that is telling me that there's going to be some special activations. What is happening is there's these higher frequencies coming in that are creating some amazing shifts for everybody. And we kicked off this already this year because on January 6th, we had a Cancer full moon. I didn't do a video about it because frankly, I was just wiped out energetically. I was so tired and I just couldn't. I couldn't. And I've been really busy too doing readings with people. And sometimes I just can't carve out the time to do these videos. But that full moon was conjunct Sirius. Now, in the astrology chart, Sirius is at 14 degrees of Cancer. Okay. So this already started bringing in this new energy this year, even though it's kind of a weird energy because it doesn't necessarily feel like new energy. It does, but it doesn't. Because what this triggered was a lot of karma to come up. That was already happening because of Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde, and Mars was answering to Mercury retrograde, and as they come to a station now today, today Mercury stations direct. Yes, that's good news for all of us. And Mercury is aspecting Mars. And so it's been very tense. At the same time, we've had asteroid union squaring Mars retrograde as it came to its station. So while I talked in December so much about how we were shifting the separation wound and what this was going to mean for everybody, this energy was coming in and it's really helping us clear it out. We are really quickly able to move through karma, and that's because of the codes that are coming in from Sirius right now, along with the planetary retrogrades. But we have to be willing to release it. So if what this means really is we're releasing old patterns, we're releasing old ways of being, because the what we were doing was connected to our karmic stories. And now we have this opportunity to rapidly clear out some of those karmic stories and create a new way of being. And this is really, really important if you want to get ahead and take full advantage of the energies this year. So we still have time. We're going to be releasing these karmic stories into, let me see. So I need to look at the charts. I think the Leo full moon, okay, and the Leo full moon is on February 5th. And what will happen then is we'll switch more into the creator manifesting energy at that time. what I've been getting from my guides is that February is going to be a really big month. It's going to be a big shift. And I kept pulling this card from my angel oracle, and the timing was February, I think. No, the timing is 1 month, but it was miracles, surprises and miracles. And I kept pulling that. So finally one day I was like, okay, I'm getting a miracle in a month. And I put it on my calendar, and it was February 6th. And I put a miracle is due today. And I see the Leo full moon is February 5th. I also had confirmation from a friend of mine who mentioned she was getting an impression that there was going to be a shift on the 7th and 8th. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Leo full moon is when we will start to transition. So let's step back and break this down a little bit more. So when we were in December and we started reaching this tipping point with the separation wound, and we were starting to be able to really see through the illusion of separation is what's happening. Not just separation from our twin, which we talk about a lot, but separation from God and separation from each other. Remember in one video, I mentioned like the different ways that we're separated. We're separated from ourselves. We're separated from our twin. We're separated from our soul family. We're separated from our soul. We're separated from God. And that creates a lot of limitations because that creates so much fear inside of us. And it makes us afraid to take risks, to be open, to be free, to be authentic. So between this tipping point of Sirius, the tipping point of the separation, well, really this tipping point that we're at is allowing these codes to now come in and integrate within those of us that are ready. And these codes are going to start to change our energetic field because we're able to release a lot of our old karmic stories. So the energy of December and January with all the clearing and purging and triggering that people are going through is really about making the transition from the old ways of being to a new way of being. So if you're really on target with this energy, then you are likely getting triggered and then seeing what's causing the trigger and hopefully responding to it in a new way than you used to in the past. And that's you beginning to integrate new patterns, new ways of being. And so basically, that leaves us free to hold more love energy. And this has to do with manifestation and things that we started last year when I talked about how we were becoming creators of our reality, right? We were getting our free will back because we were ready to break free of the karmic cycle that we were in. Now, karmic cycles are nothing more than negative thought patterns and actions that we keep doing over and over and over again instead of like releasing them and moving on. So that shift happened. And after that, what did we do? We started working on releasing the karmic patterns and making this change so that we were ready to be more of a manifester. Because in order to be a manifester, you have to be pure of heart. Or, yes, people can manifest things in other ways, but it's more of a manipulation of energy rather than being in true alignment with love, unconditional love, and Christ consciousness. When you can align yourself with Christ consciousness, then you really are in this flow of manifestation and rapidly creating things. You're much more powerful. Because when you are manifesting things, you want to be aligned with God. And if you feel like you're separated from God, then you're not in alignment with God. And you can't take the steps that God wants you to take because you're too afraid. See, what's happening is we're clearing a lot of junk out of our fields. The karma is clearing from our bodies. It's clearing from our chakra systems. It's clearing from our energy fields. And when we go through big karmic clearings like this, a lot of stuff gets kicked up into our energy field. So it's really important to clear your energetic field every day. As we clear this, our energy becomes pure. We're able to hold a higher frequency, and we're able to allow these codes to now come in and integrate and begin to make these changes within our energetic field. So where we are, I'm going to say first, where we're more aligned with God. Secondly, we're more attractive to what we're trying to create. One of the things that was happening that I talked about is needing to trust our intuition and needing to have faith. If you can't trust God, then you're going to have a hard time with this energy. And I think that people that have been struggling with this, and this is usually something that happens because of some major trauma that people have experienced in this life or another lifetime. And then especially when we have some deep triggers from our twin, we feel that God is not supporting us, or that God has turned his back on us, and we disconnect. I also mentioned in a past video how when we try to disconnect from our twin because we don't believe in it, because we're in denial of our twin connection, and we try to disconnect, we end up disconnecting from God as well, because the pain that we experience from trying to disconnect from something that we're not meant to disconnect from. And we talked about how this is like a triangular energy between you and your twin and God. So it's really important now as we come into 2023 to have faith. I'm not asking you to have faith in your twin at this point if that's something really challenging to you, but I am asking you to have faith in God, however you see God, to have faith in a higher power, because it's only through that trust that you can align. Because what is starting to happen now with the changes in our energetic fields is the source energy will be able to more powerfully flow through us and manifest. So, one of the things that I had kind of an issue with manifesting and how some people look at manifesting is it's kind of taught like we decide what we want and then we focus all our energy towards getting it. But sometimes that is us trying to create something from our ego. But this alignment that I'm talking about is where it's actually God that is creating. God is creating through us. We don't need to do the hard work of manifesting and like visualizing things anymore. Well, maybe that's not true. Because you're going to get visions, you're going to have things that you want to manifest. But it's because of this flow of energy, this connection. And God is the one directing, or you could say your higher self is the one directing. And the energy comes in and it flows through you. And it guide you into, okay, this is what we're going to create now. This is why this Leo full moon is going to be an important shift for us, because Leo is the creative energy and the energy of the heart. And we have to be in this open-hearted space to let the energy flow through us and then manifest. Okay, so faith is important for this reason, for getting in alignment with God, but also part of this is when the direction comes through us, okay, this is what we're going to create now. We have to be ready to do it. What I mean by that is when you get the direction to do something from God, you have to have the strength to do it. Because it might be something that's a little risky. It might be something that you're afraid of. It might be something that means you got to let your guard down a little bit, or you got to speak out, or you got to stand up to someone. Might be part of the process of that which you are creating. So you have to trust that God has your back. God is your armor and your shield. And that's all you need. That's your strength. That's your power. And you have to believe that 100% that you're protected. And obviously, as I talk about this is the energy that's incoming, that's in process. And it's not necessarily something that everyone is ready to do right now. In fact, everyone watching this is at a different place in their development. But this is where we're all going eventually. Each of us has our own journey. But this is how we're wanting to shift and align right now. So as our energy shifts, we create a stronger energetic field. And that means we have a stronger energetic influence in our environment. And so another big part of this, or what goes along with this, what we're seeing right now, is we're releasing attachment, especially with our emotions. So part of this karmic shifting is letting go of the attachment, which tends to show up as emotions and triggered emotions. One of the reasons why we've had a hard time manifesting is due to our inability to stay balanced in our emotions, and our moods would tend to be up and down. Okay, because we were letting negative thought patterns influence us, and even stop us, right? Because it's going back to, you've got to also take action steps with what you're creating. You have to be ready to take those steps. And sometimes we weren't, because the karmic energy, the negative thought patterns, the fears, the triggers would get in the way of us taking action. One of the things we talked about in another video was how a lot of people block their intuition, because when you're tuned into your intuition is going to tell you to do things that you might not feel ready to do. You might be scared to do it. And so you start blocking that part because your ego is in resistance to what your intuition is wanting you to do. So we're wanting to bring that to where we're listening to our intuition and we're telling our ego, it's okay. I know you're afraid, but it's going to be okay. We're going to do it anyways. So healing separation, and ultimately, as I said, the separation from God, enables us to clear the connected emotions and stay in a place of neutrality. This is very important when we're manifesting, because our thoughts are what manifest, right? Our thoughts and our words. And if we're always negative, then we're creating more negativity. We don't want to do that. We want to be in a place of neutrality and non-judgment. So things happen and instead of letting it trigger us or putting us into fear or believing that we're on the wrong path or things aren't working out, we just go, that's interesting. Must be what's meant to happen, and staying in a place of neutrality with it. And then unconditional love is key. Unconditional love, and I'm going to use Christ consciousness has the same meaning here. Unconditional love stops us from fighting against life and fighting against each other. When I talk about unconditional love, a lot of times it triggers people, especially when we're in the twin flame community. And if we talk about unconditional love, the first thing people kind of connect to is their twin. And some people aren't ready to give unconditional love to their twin. And so it triggers their anger and their resistance about why that person doesn't deserve unconditional love. And I feel like a lot of times that comes from not really understanding the meaning of unconditional love. We sometimes even subconsciously equate unconditional love with not taking any action. Or what I mean by that is like not having the proper boundaries with people. And that isn't what I mean from unconditional love. One thing that my guide said to make sure I put in today was love them as they are without need. That's a quote from my guides, because that's unconditional love. People may not be ready to be with you. People may not be ready to be nice to you. People may not be ready to support you. That's okay. We can still love them unconditionally wherever they are. The thing about our twins, when it comes to unconditional love, our twins are really a blessing, because our twin is our mirror. And yes, everybody is our mirror. That's true. But our twin is such a strong mirror for us, because our twin is, whether you want to look at your twin has the same soul as you, or being on the same vibration as you, or someone that you've had so many incarnations with, that you have like so many connections that you're almost one. I think any of those is a valid way to kind of interpret the twin flame energy. However you look at it, that energy makes your twin be so much of a mirror for you that you can't mistake it. Like with other people, yes, other people are our mirrors, but they often don't mirror back at the strength our twin does. So, think about your life before awakening. Yes, people were mirroring things to you all the time, but you didn't pay any attention. You weren't aware of it. It was all subconscious, and you just kept going on doing your patterns, not paying any attention to life, just doing the same old karmic storylines. Then the twin comes along and, whoa, now I see my patterns. And at first you won't. Usually at the beginning of the twin flame journey, you don't see that, but it's just like trigger, because there's so much gunk. All this karma is like gunk in our energy fields and in our chakras, and it blocks up the energy. So through all these triggers, we start to get a clearer picture of that mirror, so that we can see what's actually in us. What are the limitations in us? Not just with our twin, but these limitations in us block us in every avenue of our life because they're blocking us from love and from Christ consciousness. Everything that is not love is a block. The thing is, when we're trying to create things, then they start coming to us, but subconsciously we have all these blocks. And our first go-to instinct is to just go with the old coping mechanism, which doesn't help us. It just keeps us stuck. It's like coming up against a brick wall. And on the other side of that brick wall is the thing that we want, but we can't get through that wall until we clear all the fears and we come to that place of love. And then we can start taking out those bricks. And a lot of those bricks are going to be these emotionally charged reactions to triggers, coming to that place of neutrality, and an unconditional love for self. We've talked about this a lot, how it's unconditional love for ourselves and forgiving ourselves that opens this gateway to having unconditional love for other people. Until then, we really can't, because we're so hard on ourselves. And when you're hard on yourself, when you judge yourself, you also project that outwardly. So our twin is a blessing because they can get us to that point of unconditional love very quickly. Unconditional love, as I said, is the same as Christ consciousness. So if we want to ascend, then we have to be in this space of unconditional love. And, if we think about the masters, the angels, let's take Jesus, for example, because we're talking about the Christ consciousness, and he embodied Christ consciousness on earth. Jesus doesn't put limits on people. If you call to Jesus, he'll come and help you. And he won't say, well, when you were 20, you did that thing and you really messed it up. So I'm not willing to help you now. Or, I sat here and waited for you to contact me and you didn't. So I'm sorry, my patience is over now. I got to go. Jesus doesn't do that. The angels don't do that because they are beings in unconditional love. And they're always open to having a peaceful resolution of situations. I think in 2023, we're also going to see the collective energy awaken a lot more. And more people are going to be seeing through the illusion, the ego illusion. There's going to be less fear-based thinking than there has been. And a lot of people are going to be having their third eyes expanded as well. So, so what my guide said is like the control systems aren't even an issue at this point. And they showed me like in The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy sees that the Great Oz is just a man. It really doesn't have any power. It was all an illusion. That's how people are going to be with the control structures, because those things only run on fear. And when we step out of the fear-based thinking, then, they don't have any control over anybody anymore. So we don't have to really even focus on that. It's not anything that we need to worry about. I want to talk about some dates coming up too. So this energy with the separation started coming in December. And you can expect that to ramp up through July. My guides are saying besides February, which is going to be a big shift for people, because we're going to be shifting away from the karmic stuff and start taking action on our creation. So if you've been wanting to manifest some things, put some things into action, once Mercury gets going direct and Mars gets going direct in February, you'll begin to want to start working on those things again. They're also saying that May is an important month. May is a tipping point with the separation energy. And that's the month where we're going to be focusing on trusting our intuition. And this trust that's coming in is going to lead to more twin flame unions. We really have to be in that state of trust in order to create unions. And, you know, it's tempting, as I always say, it's tempting to want to project everything onto your twin and blame them for why you aren't together, why you're not in union, or why you think your union failed. But it's always both of you, because you both work in tandem. And if you are not trusting in your twin flame dynamic, again, I'm not even necessarily asking you to trust your twin, but can you trust in God, and that God has put you on this journey for a reason, and that there's going to be some positive gain at the end of the journey? If you can't do that, then you don't have any chance of creating union. And it's the separation energy and focusing on separation, that negative, spinning mind that's always like separation, abandonment, they're not here, blah, 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 that is keeping union away. So as we step out of that energy and we step into trust, we step into alignment with God, when we're ready to take action, when we're living from our heart, that's the opportunity for you to reconnect in your twin flame dynamic. So really, this is going to be a big year, I think, for reunions. And I don't say that lightly. Now, energy is energy, and sometimes it can be hard to read where, how long it's going to take for full shifts. But I think the focus that everyone should be on is that anything can happen at any time this year. So May is important because Venus is going to cross Sirius on May 20th. And the day before that is a full moon. And we also have a solar eclipse on May 5th. So those three things, that Venus crossing Sirius on May 20th is one of the major things that is going to create this shift towards Christ consciousness and unconditional love and healing the separation wound. So, yeah, that's going to be a really important day. You might want to mark that one on your calendar as well. Then July and August are going to be jam-packed as well. Now, we've got a lot of things coming in. It's really how the energy is going now, because things have accelerated so much that we don't really have like high energy, low energy, high energy, low energy. We just have high, high, higher, higher, higher energy. And that's okay, because it's helping us shift all the faster. But yeah, July and August, we have the full moon and the new moon. We have Venus going retrograde. We have the node shifting into Aries, and we have Chiron going retrograde in July. We have Lughnasadh on the first day of August. We have Lionsgate on 8/8. Of course, we have the new moon and full moon in August. We have Mercury retrograde, and we have Uranus retrograde. And then our big portal for the year is going to be the 777 portal, which will be on July 7th, 2023. It's 2023. It's a 7-year. 7 is spiritual mastery. That's how I read it. So 777s, many people have 777s as a lucky number, plus 777 adds up to 21, which reduces to 3, which is the energy of manifestation. So we can really look forward to that 7/7 portal. Now on July 3rd, a few days before that portal is the full moon in Capricorn. Now that day, Mercury is going to be conjunct Sirius, and really the sun and the moon will also be conjunct Sirius. When we're using stars in astrology, we're really looking for planets and asteroids to be really close in order to be felt. I think we can go a little wider than what is generally accepted. So, because really it's like triggers is all it is. So July 3rd will kick off the energy of the 777 portal. And they're saying that's a big activation for us into the Christ consciousness and that spiritual mastery. And the sun will then go over Sirius like a couple days later, probably the next day or the day after that. They're saying at the 777 portal, we'll be anchoring more understanding and compassion for each other. And I'm not necessarily just talking about twin flames, but we're just having more compassion for everybody, for humanity. And we're also getting ready for Venus retrograde, which is July 22nd, and then Mercury retrograde in August. And in July, we're going to see enhanced ability to manifest things, because the incoming energy, that's when we're really going to start to see these incoming Sirian codes begin to shift our energetic fields and clear out karma. And guys, I want to just mention, I probably didn't, maybe I did, but between now and this Leo full moon at the beginning of February, clear. Take this time, do everything you can to clear karma. The violet flame is what my guides always tell me is the best thing to do to clear karma. Also, Ho'oponopono. I did do that Ho'oponopono workshop a couple weeks ago. If you couldn't make it and you want to watch the replay of it, I'll put the link below for that. Ho'oponopono is also a really good way to clear out karma and get into better alignment with God. And I posted that meditation for the 50-point cosmic cleansing. That's also a really good way to help you clear karma. So as Venus gets ready for a retrograde as well, she's going to be making 3 passes over Lilith. So before she goes retrograde is the first pass. And I think that's going to be around the 777 portal. Let me see. Yeah, so I'll be talking about that like the very beginning of July. Venus will be making a conjunction with Lilith for the first one, then going retrograde, crossing Lilith again, and then coming direct and crossing Lilith again. So plan on July and August and into the beginning of September being really important for clearing that separation wound with Venus retrograde. Now, at this first pass at the beginning of July, they're going to be conjunct Mars as well. So as we gear up for the 777 portal, it's probably going to be some pretty intense energy. And then the 777 portal energy will take us right into August and the 8-8 Lionsgate. Now, at the 777 portal, the sun and Mercury and the moon will be aligned with Sirius in the astrology chart. At the 8-8 portal, the Earth is aligned with Sirius spatially. Is that the right word? So they're both Sirius alignments, but maybe that is confusing for some people. We also this year have a lot of planetary shifts. We have Pluto going into Aquarius. That's going to be huge. Pluto's been in Capricorn since, I think, 2008. Saturn will be going into Pisces. The North Node will be going into Aries, the South Node into Libra. and Jupiter will finish its run in Aries and go into Taurus. So it's going to be a lot of shifts, but I think this year is going to be really, really good energy. And I'm excited for it because, you know, the worst part about the journey is really the emotional triggers. The mental triggers aren't always easy either, but those emotional triggers, we can feel those so deeply. So thank you so much, guys. If you would like a personal reading, my website is below. Please know that I am fully booked through February and will start thinking about, March right now with this energy. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's difficult. Sometimes when there's a lot of transmutation going on and stuff, it's difficult to connect to the high frequencies that I need to when I'm doing readings. So you'll just, we just have to be patient, and please know that I'm doing the best I can to get to everybody in a timely fashion. So sending you all a lot of love. Happy New Year, and look forward to all the exciting energy of 2023.